Hi guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Random Lifestyle Vlog. And today's video is going to be a fragrance related, and we're going to talk about the whole collection of Ariana Grande fragrances. So these are all the fragrances I have. I'm just going to talk about every single one of them, and I think I have most of her fragrances in my collection. There might be a couple of them missing. Some of them are not available anymore, and one of them, which is a Cloud 2.0, is not available in the UK as of now. I couldn't really find it anywhere apart from, like, you know, maybe buying it off YouTube for like stupid amount of money with like taxes and everything, but I decided not to do it. I heard that it's quite similar to the original, but as soon as it appears here in the UK, I'm definitely going to buy it. For now, let's focus on what I have here. So I'm just going to talk about every single fragrance a little bit. So if you're just wondering whether you should purchase any of those, or maybe you kind of feel like you want to build a little bit of Ariana Grande fragrance collection, then yeah, this might help you. All right, so let's start chronologically. Let's start with the first fragrance, or the oldest one, and this is the R.E.M fragrance. I really love those little bottles. They're slightly kitsch, aren't they? But they're just so cute, and what I like about them, they're like so well made. Like nothing really feels cheap about them. Like this is like a really nice thick glass. The top is made of like a really nice kind of like a metal thing, but it's like nothing really feels cheap about it. The sprayer is nice, so everything is done so nicely. This whole kind of line with the pompons, it's quite heavy based on the marshmallow. So these fragrances are quite girly, are quite young as well. I wouldn't really say these are juvenile, and I wouldn't really say that they can be worn only by like young girls. I don't really agree. I think these could be worn by like anyone. I think for someone like more mature, these are perfect kind of jeans and t-shirt kind of casual scents. For like a younger person, they could be, you know, like an everyday scent, or even something that you wear when you go out. Very sweet, very girly, very kind of carefree, but they do smell like your typical kind of celebrity fragrance. So I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to tell you that this smells super unique and gives me like a niche vibe, because it doesn't. It does smell like a good celebrity scent. So this is what you're going to get if you decide to buy this fragrance. I personally really like it. I think from this whole kind of line, this is my favorite. Let's have a look at the notes first, and then we're just going to move on to the other fragrances and going to compare them a little bit. So the top notes are raspberry, pear and grapefruit. Middle notes vanilla, orchid, lily of the valley and rose, and then base notes marshmallow, musk and woody notes. So this is definitely very fruity with a big portion of marshmallow. Yeah, so that's the one over here. And then the next fragrance that is also quite heavy on marshmallow is this one over here, Sweet Like Candy. Again, we have a very similar story with the bottle. I actually really like this kind of powdery pink color as well, but I don't know if you can see, but it kind of like scratches a little bit on the packaging. So they're like, so this is not as long lasting, or it's not going to look that nice as the other one for like a longer period of time. But you know, it is what it is, right? This fragrance, again, very sweet, possibly even slightly sweeter compared to R.E.M. Slightly sweeter, but at the same time it has some like sourness to it. Like it does give me those like powdery sweets. They are like sweet and slightly sour at the same time. So this is pretty much what it is, this fragrance to me. Very girly, again, very young. I personally find this one more suitable for winter because it does give me a headache when it's warm and sunny. It does give me a proper headache, but it actually works quite nicely in winter. So I'll probably say that if you kind of, if it didn't work out for you in summertime, just try it when it's a little bit colder. It might actually be better. The notes here are top notes blackberry, pear, bergamot. Middle notes whipped cream, marshmallow, blackcurrant, frangipani, jasmine, honeysuckle. And then base notes vanilla and cashmere woods. Again, as you can see, very marshmallowy, very like sweet, girly, fruity scents. A little bit different fruit, but that's pretty much what makes the whole difference between these two fragrances. If I were to compare them, I would probably say I slightly prefer the first one, R.E.M. It's just more I mean, it does not give me a headache like any time, literally. So definitely I'll prefer this one. But this one actually works quite nicely when it's colder as well. Do you need both of them? I mean, if this is the type of fragrance that you like the most, then there's no reason not to have both of them. But I'll probably say if you just want one girly scent, just pick one of those. I don't think you necessarily need two marshmallowy scents. And then we have the third fragrance from this collection, which is Moonlight. This is how it looks. I love this kind of pearlescent or opalescent kind of like bottle. It's just so stunning. This one, to be honest, at first it was my favorite of those three, but it just doesn't last, you know. It does not last at all. So this fragrance here, it has some plum in it. It's kind of like slightly powdery. It's much more mature. It's not like old kind of mature, but it's definitely something that it could be either like a night out kind of fragrance for like a younger person, or it could be suitable for like any age, and it does not really smell young. It does give me some celebrity fragrance vibe probably because of that marshmallow note in here. But it is really pretty. It just doesn't last. Like the other two, they last quite nicely. But this one, on my skin, This is the fragrance that I mostly use when I go to bed. Like, just I spray this before going to bed. So it just lasts me for like 2 hours before I fall asleep. That's for sure. But not necessarily something that will last all day. And that kind of like discourages me a little bit when it comes to like using this fragrance. It is really pretty, but not necessarily good for lasting. So it is what it is. Also, I think, you know, it's a little bit more difficult to describe like when is a good time to use it, because of this being like slightly more mature, but at the same time it does give you a little bit of a celebrity fragrance vibe. So I don't know. So even though this was almost like a love at first sniff, I was like super impressed at how good it was. I'm not really that impressed like anymore. I mean, I feel like it's good, but not necessarily my favorite. I think the lasting power is to blame here mostly. So the top notes here are plum, blackcurrant, the middle notes marshmallow and peony, and then we have base notes of vanilla, sandalwood and amber. So yeah, it's literally plum and marshmallow, and it's really kind of like slightly powdery vibe. It has this powdery vibe to it. Very pleasant. If it lasts on you, then I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it, but it does not really last on me, and I heard people complaining about the lasting power, so it might be like a bigger issue thing. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much the end of the marshmallow kind of collection with those little cute pom-poms things. We're moving on to the what I call the ugly bottle kind of series, and that starts with the very popular Cloud. I mean, first of all, these bottles are just, they just seem so much like flimsier compared to the original bottles. And this actually, in my opinion, it looks much better than with this kind of plasticky thing, because they come with this kind of plasticky stand, which I'm going to put a picture over here, but it just doesn't look good, you know, in my opinion. Okay, I don't really like that style, and I just get rid of those like stands, so I can't really show them these fragrances with them. So this one, Cloud, very popular. This is, by many people, this is considered to be a dupe of Baccarat Rouge. I don't think this is necessarily a dupe, but it's definitely inspired. It is a beautiful coconutty, slightly woodsy scent with some lavender. It's really pretty. It's very kind of girly. This doesn't smell like a celebrity scent at all. It has more like a interesting kind of vibe to it. It smells much more expensive than it actually really is. I think this is a good fragrance, and it definitely doesn't really have like an age label on it. It doesn't really smell young or like old or like, I don't know, mature. It's just quite like, I don't know, it's difficult to describe, to be honest. So the top notes here are lavender, pear and bergamot, then middle notes of whipped cream, praline, coconut and vanilla orchid, and then base notes of musk and woody notes. So this is like a very feminine scent as well, and just bear in mind that Baccarat Rouge 540, this is like a unisex scent. This one is like a female take on the original Baccarat Rouge, so I wouldn't say this is a dupe. I would say this is like a sweeter, girlier, coconutier version of the Baccarat Rouge, not necessarily a dupe. As you can see, I used up the half of the bottle already. It's a good fragrance. I was kind of disappointed with how like kind of flat, the dry down scenes on my skin, but I usually layer this with some like woodsy fragrances, and that gives this fragrance a little bit of a boost. But yeah, that's that. We're moving on to the next fragrance. That was a little bit controversial. And this is Thank You Next. Again, this one comes in this kind of like heart-shaped kind of stand. Picture here for reference. I got rid of it. Yeah, this fragrance is controversial because of pickled cucumbers. Yes, there are many people who can actually smell pickled cucumbers here, and I kind of know why. Okay, I kind of know why. I don't really get pickled cucumbers, and I don't really try not to think about it too much when I use this fragrance, because I don't really want to like make that connection in my head, if you know what I mean. But it has this like it's like a coconutty scent with like this kind of like a weird sourness, which comes from like I think the fruit concoction here. But at the same time, I do understand why some people kind of interpret this in their brains as pickled cucumbers, and you don't really want to smell like pickled cucumbers usually, do you? So the notes here are top notes raspberry pear. Then we have middle notes of coconut and pink rose, and then macarons and musk in base notes. So this is a coconutty scent, but not necessarily that type of like tropical, creamy coconut. It's more what I would describe as a kind of like fresher take on coconut. I like it. I don't think it's as good as the Cloud, but I think it's good enough, and it definitely doesn't give me very much of like a celebrity scent. I think Ariana Grande kind of left that idea of doing like proper celebrity scents already, and her fragrances now are more like kind of mature and more interesting, I would say. So not as good as Cloud, I think, but still not bad, right? So now we're moving to Thank You Next 2.0. This is not chronologically. I think the next one was actually another fragrance came first, but it kind of makes sense to do the 2.0 version now. And this is how it looks. It has a similar stand, like the heart kind of shaped stand, but in a kind of lilac-y shade. So that kind of looks a little bit better, I think. Still got rid of that because, you know, I don't even have space for those stands. Plus, I don't like them, so. That I don't really understand why this is the second version or 2.0 of Thank You Next, because I don't really see, like, honestly, no, I don't really see any similarity between those two fragrances. Like, they're completely different, all right? So the first one was this kind of fresh, soury kind of coconut. This one is super sweet, berries, very kind of like, almost like drinking like sangria or something like that. It's very kind of sweet scent. It does give me a little bit of, I mean, I do think this is slightly similar to Kayali, the apple kind of fragrance, the new one. It's really pretty, but honestly, I don't really see much similarity here. The top notes, wild strawberry, apple juice, and pomegranate. Middle notes, wild orchid, jasmine. And base notes, oh, we have comeback of marshmallow. So marshmallow, musk, and sandalwood. A really pretty scent. I really like it. Completely different to the original Thank You Next. You know what? If you want to buy the Kayali fragrance and you don't really want to like spend that much money, buy this one instead. It's actually really similar and it's available in the UK now, so that's good. Okay, so we have the last fragrance from this kind of like ugly bottle collection, and this is R.E.M. and this is, oh my god, this is so good. This is so good, but this is good. This is not for everybody for sure. This is a fragrance that leans slightly masculine on some people. It has this rough kind of almost masculine lavender, and then you have this like sweet concoction of like other fragrances that kind of, I mean, this is such a unique fragrance in my opinion, but definitely not for everybody. And this is that kind of perfect fragrance for chilling at home or like a bedtime kind of fragrance. It's just perfect. It is so beautiful. I can't really imagine wearing this like, you know, going out, but it's just like a perfect scent for staying in and just smelling lovely. It's just so pretty. But this is definitely not going to be for everyone. And if you're kind of like Ariana Grande fragrance fan, this might actually surprise you. I do think like Ariana Grande surprises us sometimes, but this might surprise you because it seems completely different. I don't really find it similar to like any other fragrance here. I've heard that some people find it similar to Cloud. I mean, there is lavender in both of these fragrances, but I don't really find them similar, okay? The top notes here: zephyr, caramel, salt, fig, and quince. Middle notes: lavender, pear blossom. And then base notes: musk, tonka bean, and sandalwood. So this is like a very almost gourmandish fragrance with this kind of like rough, almost masculine lavender. This is just so beautiful. I'm definitely going to repurchase that one once I finish it. And as you can see, I pretty much used up the half of the bottle already. So that's definitely going to be one of those I will repurchase. Okay, just to sum it up, the Ugly Bottles kind of collection, all the 4 fragrances. It's really difficult to compare them because every single one of those is completely different. I can't really tell you much about the Cloud 2.0 because I don't have it. I heard it's similar to the original one, but it's just what I heard. I actually haven't tried it. Every single fragrance in this collection is different. I think probably the safest blind buy will be Thank You Next 2.0 because you can pretty much guess what you're expecting. It's very fruity, it's very berry, it's just yummy. Also, it's very similar to the Kayali fragrance. The other 3 fragrances that I have, I would probably say they might not be the safest blind buy. This one because of that pickled cucumber. If you get a pickled cucumber from that, I'm pretty sure you're not going to wear it. This one because of that kind of like masculine, almost lavender. You kind of have to like that vibe. And this one, I mean, if you're expecting like a proper Baccarat 540 dupe, then you're not going to get it, right? So you have to kind of know what your expectations are. This is a good fragrance, but it's not like a Baccarat Rouge dupe. Yeah, so if you want to have all of them in your collection, there's no reason not to because they're all so different, but I'll probably say these fragrances are probably better. I mean, it's probably best not to blind buy them. They're not like super expensive, so that kind of, can justify blind buying here and there, but they're not like super easy going fragrances. Like there might be some issues for some people with like some of the notes over here. Okay, so that leaves us with the last fragrance. This is one of the most recent addition to Ariana Grande fragrances, and this is God Is a Woman. And I know this fragrance is slightly controversial for some reason. Not everybody loves it. I do. I think this is such a good scent. I think at this point, this is actually my favorite Ariana Grande scent. I've been using it quite a lot since I got it. This is a beautiful pear scent, like slightly musky. It's just so pretty. Let me just show you the notes. So the notes here: pear, ambrette, orris, Turkish rose, Madagascar vanilla, and sandalwood. So it's really difficult for me to explain how this smells. It's not like full-on fruity scent, and not like Thank You Next 2.0. This one has a little bit more edge to it. It's very kind of summery or springtime suitable because it's lightweight. It's very kind of like fresh, lightweight scent. I mean, it's my fresh, okay, my type of fresh. I don't really like a citrusy scent, so this is the type of fresh I kind of describe as fresh. It's a very beautiful kind of lightweight scent, daytime. I actually really like this. Okay guys, so what do you think about my Ariana Grande collection? Have you tried any of these fragrances? Have you tried any of the fragrances I don't have in my collection? If you do, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments section down below. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. If you've tried any of these fragrances, I would also love to know what you think about them and which one is your favorite. Thank you very much for watching. For more fragrance related content, check those videos here. I'm going to see you very soon. Take care, bye!